Hey, what's up everybody? Chris here. My dog Lucy is joining me for this video, at least for a little while. Who knows when she'll hop down. I've seen a handful of films lately, and I thought I would do kind of a movie review roundup instead of making a variety of separate videos. I don't know if that's good or bad for the YouTube algorithm. I don't particularly care. But anyway, let me just give you the rundown, what I've seen and what my thoughts are about these movies. Okay, so the first movie I want to talk about is Fantastic Four: First Steps. I thought this was actually pretty good, pretty solid throughout. I wouldn't say that it was exceptional or amazing, but it did feel, in some ways, kind of like Superman to me. Like it felt more kind of grounded in time and place, a little bit more comic booky in nature would be the term I would use. It's got some humor in it. I think it was well cast. I think that everybody, Pedro Pascal, I think it's Vanessa Kirby is the actress's name. Everybody did a great job in their respective roles, and I thought Galactus was actually a really kind of intimidating villain in the way that we haven't seen since Thanos. Like I haven't seen a Marvel movie recently that really stood out to me with an amazing villain. I will say though I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, so I still have to check that out. But I thought Fantastic Four was a good time for the most part. My 14-year-old went and saw it with me. He really enjoyed it a lot. My 11-year-old also went. I thought it was entertaining and for the most part a good experience. I really did enjoy it overall. Now, I don't know if it's enough to sort of kickstart Marvel's domination of the comic book film, universe, as has been the case for the past, 15 years, however long it's been since the first Iron Man movie came out, probably longer than that, actually. But I really did have a good time with it overall, and I'm kind of looking forward to what they do, because, it sort of ends with, this is a little bit spoilery, but it sort of ends with this whole idea of you'll see the Fantastic Four return in Avengers Doomsday. So we'll see how that continues, but I think it's worth a look. I don't necessarily know that I would say it needs to be seen on a big screen, but if you're looking for kind of a relaxed night out at the theater, it's certainly worth that. Okay, the other recent thing that I've seen is Happy Gilmore 2. I went into it with like the lowest of low expectations. It just looked like one of those legacy sequels that probably was not going to be that great. I thought it was hilarious. Like I laughed out loud at a few different spots. And I think what it was setting out to do was sort of recapture that 90s era comedy, that 90s era nostalgia for a film like the original Happy Gilmore, kind of that era of SNL actors going off making their own movies. And I think it did a pretty good job of that. I think having Ben Stiller come back as Hal-El was great in it. I think some people maybe didn't love some of the plot decisions in the movie, but I think it was very much kind of a parallel to the whole thing that we've got now with PGA versus the LIV or whatever it is, the other golf league that exists now, taken to the extreme. I thought it was actually really highly entertaining. I thought it was one of the better comedies that I've seen in a long time. And actually, I think this weekend my wife and I are going to see the Naked Gun reboot, which I am also really excited about. I think that was probably going to be funnier, but I think Happy Gilmore was actually really good. I think if you've got Netflix and you enjoy the original Happy Gilmore, why not watch this one? I think it's certainly worth the time to go and check it out. I found it really entertaining. I thought Adam Sandler, for the most part, slipped back into that role pretty effortlessly. I think, again, there are some characters that don't always work. Like he has 4 sons or 3 sons or something like that in the movie, and I think sometimes their comedy is a little bit hit and miss. But for the most part, this was sort of I wouldn't say capturing lightning in a bottle in the same way as the first movie did, but very close to that. I think it did a really good job, and I enjoyed it. Okay, and this last one's really just kind of a bonus review. It's that movie, The Amateur, which, if you remember several months ago, it was advertised nonstop on television, just all the time, even on YouTube, just ads for it everywhere. Now it is streaming on Hulu. I sat down and watched it, and I thought it was a pretty capable kind of spy thriller sort of thing. There are moments, I think, in the story where it's a little bit hard to follow, but for the most part, I think it accomplished what it wanted to and tried to ground the tale of the CIA kind of tech nerd who's on the path of revenge, but also has some dirt on FBI execs and is trying to sort of use that to get what he wants. But I thought it was pretty good. Some of it's a little bit unbelievable. I mean, I really think if the CIA were trying to track somebody down who worked within their organization and had given that person fake passports, they could do it a lot more quickly than they do in the movie. But I think it was pretty solid overall from an entertainment point of view. So if you're looking for something that's recently available on streaming, especially if you've got Hulu, I think it's worth checking out. I wouldn't pay to rent it, but I think if you already have a subscription to Hulu, yeah, totally, just give it a look. So anyway, those are some films that I've seen lately. Let me know what you've seen in the comments below. I am going to probably see The Naked Gun sometime soon, but What I will say, and I mentioned this weekend probably, but what I will say is this is probably how I'm going to approach reviews for the foreseeable future. I'm kind of finding it a little bit more enjoyable to just see a handful of films and then review them all at once instead of making separate videos. I don't want YouTube to become like a chore, and it started to feel a little bit like that. And I think giving myself a little bit of breathing room in between videos and reviews kind of helps manage that a little bit. So, anyway, if you've seen something great below that I should check out, let me know that. And as always, thanks so much for watching.